What's up, guys? Kyle with Kyle's Custom Baits here. I still haven't got to go out and swim any of my stuff because we just got hit with an ice storm. I don't like being cooped up in the house, so I come out and I figured I'd make a crankbait for you guys. If you've seen I think my first video, I showed a crankbait that was painted and finished. I'm going to show you guys how to make one. It'll be a little bit smaller. The painting, I might have to add another video on that, but show you guys how to do it. First thing you need to do is make sure you draw out your stencil. You can do this with other shapes as well. This is just one I like. Draw my stencil, and I took some Elmer's glue, the stick glue, stick it on there. That way when you're cutting on it or anything, if you're cutting out the shape or you're sanding on it, you don't lose your lines until you sand on that. But by that time, it's cut down to pretty much the shape you want it. You just have to take care of the edges. But I'm gonna put it on the bandsaw here and show you guys how we make it. Alright guys, running on the bandsaw here. I ain't got much of an angle for the camera. A little rough on top, sanding and everything will take care of that. Alright guys, I had to move my camera. I about got my thumb on it, just barely took off the top layer of skin, didn't even cut me. But after you shave it down, you want to cut your lip before you round anything, because getting your line on your lip right when it's rounded, at least for me, has been ridiculously difficult. So just cut your lip in. You can always go back and polish it off, make it bigger or whatever, just your initial line for your lip, put that in. Alright guys, so now I'm gonna sand this and just get this all even, and then we'll start on the edges here. See it, the glue with the paper held up pretty well. It only bent there, and I didn't put glue everywhere. Fix that top. There's still a little bit of a line there, but once the edging's done, the final sanding will take care of that. Next, there's a few different ways you can go about it. Sometimes I take a pencil and I'll edge out pretty much where I want to get to. Sometimes I whittle, sometimes I use the belt sander. Most of the time the belt sander just gets easier and faster, but it is easier to mess it up too. But gonna start edging off on these corners here and taper down the tail. Show you guys what's happening here. Let's do it. Alright, now to hit it with some sandpaper, guys. With my camera turned off. If I can quit dropping it. Put the 60. When you do it good with the 60, you don't have to put a lot of pressure with the 80. It's just a little bit more fine it down before you hit it with that smooth 220. And you can go even higher in the grit on these to even finer, but 220, it's good enough for what I need. I want it smooth enough I can put paint and everything on it and it not be all like this was after the sander. I'm just gonna keep dropping it. Now 220. Just keep dropping it, guys. It's the only way to make sure your wood's strong. See, I still got one more spot right there. I don't know if the camera's picking up, but my dog has been snoring the entire time I've been out here. Got it that time. Show you guys what's next. Two. Oh, like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5. That's the rattle. 6, 7. 7's too much. The reason I'm shaking it so much, guys, is I try to put my finger here and seal it off, but not push any of my finger like down in where my finger will go in it, like the meat of it. So, because that's the way it's going to be. It's going to be just covered over the top. And I'll have that loose spot in there between the bottom and the BBs. That's what helps create the rattle. Well, I think 5 sounds the best on it, so you get my stuff ready and we'll show you guys how I do this. Alright guys, what I do for this, there's a few different ways I do it. I'm going to show you this one. It's a thin piece of basswood from trimming off baits. I always keep the super thin pieces, or I'll take some excess and just cut them. They're malleable, yet somewhat strong. You don't want to bend them. Get your utility knife, your pencil. Figure out where you want that to start and stop. And this one, where it's so thin, it kind of bends around the bait. All I'm doing is marking. I make it a little bit wide, and because I'll be sanding when I'm done, and I can sand at that edge and get it closer to the hole. But one issue I always ran into this starting off was I'm going to super glue it, but this super glue sucks into the wood really well, and if there's a gap, it will run right through it and go spread everywhere. So if super glue gets into this and touches those BBs at all, it's not going to rattle at all. They're going to be locked up, stuck forever. And that my big issue was, let's say I put it on like this. See, there's still a little bit of a gap there. The glue would seep through and get my BBs, and I'd have to restart or not have it with a rattle. So my simple little trick for that is Elmer's glue. Again, don't want to get it on it, just around it. Just around where the wood's going to be touching the outside of it. You can use it, smear it with your finger too, it don't matter. Take your piece. Line it up where you want it and stick it. Hold it pretty tight. Balma, stop snoring. Jeez. Just kind of let it sit for a minute. Then comes the tricky part. My super glue, accelerator, and baking soda. You still want to hold this wood. It's just slightly stuck. That's not dry. It's Elmer's glue, so it's not super strong. But, take some baking soda and just line the edge of it real light. Go back over it and push. Anything that's not right on that line, you don't need. It's just going to be excess you're going to be sanding off anyway. Alright, got it on that front line. Come on now. One, it wasn't even a full drop, and it ran almost all the way across the front. Same thing on the back. There's way too much baking soda. And if you got a thicker piece, all that excess just push up right on that line, and excess will get pushed to the top. You want to watch out and not have any baking soda on the sides, guys. It's real tricky. The glue will run. I'm gonna sand it anyway, but still. Drop. Let it run. Alright, now next, I'm going to trim this off here. So thin. Some scissors. Trim it just a hair too far right there. Take some Elmer's. Get you a small, teeny little glob. Just a ball of it. And put it on that crease. Like so. Baking soda's not going to run through the Elmer's glue. Just put it there, it's going to stick to it. So you can even blow on it there and not lose your baking soda. Alright. Cha-cha. One more side left, guys. Alright. I trimmed it, but I just broke another piece off with my hand here. So I can go ahead and do this so it's closer. And it's the tiniest of holes. Barely see it there. A little bit of baking soda. Get your super glue here. And drop does it all. There's our rattle. We put this stuff up, guys, and I'll show you the next step. Right, now we're gonna start those line tie and hook holes. Take a screwdriver or a nail. It's actually too big. A nail here, and just this back one's going to be at an angle, nearly straight in. But you just want that starter hole so you can get your bit in there, and then you can angle it. Drill bit. Another thing you can do if you don't want, you want to make sure you don't go too far, because it's hard to follow the bit when it's moving. Is you can take a piece of tape, measure how far in it you want from the side here, and tape right at the line where it meets. Take it, put your nail right up against the bait on the bit, pull it out, and your nail right up against the bait there. You can see how far you're going. You can see. So, go just a hair deeper. Then I'm going to bore it out a little bit, just wiggle the bit. Same with the line tie. Now if you've made your rattle super deep in the bait, make sure you don't hit that. Mine isn't super deep. You want to keep it as the weight in the bottom as low as possible, like the smallest hole without going up as much. That keeps it centered and the belly down when you're fishing it. And then with the lip on it, that'll give it the wobble action to keep it stabilized. This last hook hole, the tricky one. Just barely start it in that hole at the angle, or at the 90-degree angle, and then angle it. Now let's work on the lip. Alright guys, so then you just draw out your stencil there and cut it out. There's the rough version. Still gotta sand the edges. And if you mess up a little bit cutting it, the sanding, like I've got a little bit of a fat spot right here. I was scared if I tried to fix it with the bandsaw, it just wasn't going to work. You can fix it sanding. So we're getting there. Still got to fix a little bit down at the bottom. I messed up my angles of hair. Well, guys, I'm going to finish sanding this, and then I'm going to show you guys the hook ties and lip ties. I've got new metal in, so I'm going to try them out for it. Alright guys, I got the lip sanded and I've got it shoved in there. The next step is putting it in the bait and lining it up. Quit. Sorry, my other puppy. Alright. Then starting off, you lose your super glue. It's always the first step is to lose your super glue. Oh, right. Once you got it in place where you want it, just have a little super glue on that crack somewhere. It'll suck right in. On top there. The one thing, guys, I've noticed, I don't know why, but the accelerator, if it gets on your plastic, it gunks it up. Can buff that out. I don't know why it does that, but once you got it dabbed with super glue in place, you want to finish. It'll hold, but you want to finish sealing it in there. So you'll get some baking soda, cracks on the side of the lip. The other side. You're probably seeing some fall under it. That's fine. There's still a little bit of a gap in there that's not sealed. We'll take care of that right now. Still rattling, so we got no leaks with the glue in there. And just want to grab your 220. Unless you if you have a lot of super glue run, you might want to use the 60 or 80. I just have a little bit on the sides where I did that lip, just to get it back to normal there. Sometimes I'll wait on doing this, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to sand that piece that's covered. Make sure you get those side angles. I know it's probably ridiculously dusty on this video. My building has no ventilation, and I've been fooling around in here all day, so dust is everywhere. Of course, me sanding these don't help. Not one little bit. That sanded down. Show you guys how I'm going to do these line ties. Alright guys, I guess my daughter's going to help me. But I got two different wires. This one is .032 and the .041. I'm going to try the smaller one first. I haven't used these. It's definitely... Yeah. Exactly. If you've watched my other video, you've seen me do it with it. I'm doing the same thing, just with this thicker line. Tighten the two ends up in the chuck of the drill. Put it on that and go in reverse. And guys, you can make these as long as you want. Yeah. You can do any length you want and cut them down. I generally do about that length, maybe 2.5 inches. That way it's enough when I cut this down. If I have a bad end, I don't cut it down and have too little to even be able to use, or if I need a longer one. My wire snips are getting wore out. Clip the excess off. If you have wire snips, they're not old as dirt. And I take a flat pair of screwdrivers like that, or pliers like that, and I always squeeze right here. Make sure that bend is pressed in good and straighten it up. And just make sure if there's any high spots in the teeth on it there, you can squeeze it down. Give it a little bit of squeeze, just tighten it up. Anywhere in there that might be a little loose. Just repeat that for the rest of them. There's your hook ties. Alright guys, here. Just screwing these in here. Had to cut them down a little bit, except for this last one. It was the perfect size. Yeah. Now then you can. I didn't dab super glue on them this time, but I'm gonna baking soda and super glue the top of them. I'll super glue first, and then more baking soda and super glue, so the first drop will sink down in there. Guys, got it on there, rattling good. Just gonna sand it one more time. Go over it a little bit. Make sure there's no glue run or anything like that I've missed. Try to get as close to those as I can for any glue that's ran off of it. Yeah. Careful. Guys, and there you go. Nice little teardrop crankbait. Oh, got one more thing we can do before paint happens. Almost forgot, guys. Got to put the eyes in. More?
Daddy, check.
If you have drill bits like mine, my bigger ones aren't actually round. The bigger ones, they have the flat sides there. So after I get the hole deep enough burnt, I'll just go around it real quick. You okay? Good. Leave that alone. Thank you. As you can see, I measured out my eyes. It's one of these. That's what I'll put on it. Quit. But there's a teardrop crankbait, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, anything. Any ideas? Something you want me to make? Something you think I could do different? Anything like that, guys, let me know. I'd love the input. I hope you all have a great one, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Take it easy, and I'll see you guys next time.